Mail-in ballots are the new concern for voters around the country. Find out how to make your vote count in the presidential election.
The Senate Judiciary Committee begins hearings for Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett.
We're learning about the man who used his stimulus check to create a coffee shop on wheels.
And faith-based religions in Texas begin outdoor worship amidst a pandemic. Update News starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Jocelyn Aguirre.
And I'm Nicole Albalar.
And today we have live reports from San Jose, Santa Cruz, and Fresno County.
We begin with an issue that has widespread implications for the entire state. As the presidential election nears, the California Republican Party is admitting it placed misleading ballot boxes in Fresno, Los Angeles, and Orange County. The state attorney general has issued a cease and desist order to remove the boxes. None have been found in the Bay Area. An investigation is taking place to protect the security of a historically secure system. For decades now, people have securely voted by mail. Whether it's a city hall or in regular mailboxes, the pandemic is prompting many people to vote by mail this year.
SJSU Votes was already moving toward encouraging people to vote early, to register, to vote by mail if possible. But now this semester, it's everybody.
Even though mail-in ballots have been available for years, it is a new style of voting for some people, and they are worried about President Trump's unfounded warning about vote-by-mail fraud.
I think it could, alter the final decision. So that's kind of what I'm worried about.
Even though some people seem to be wary of this type of voting, vote-by-mail is historically safe.
You can track your ballot. So you can sign up to track your ballot, and you can find out when it was mailed to you. You can find out when it was counted.
In a statement from the U.S. Postal Services, even if all Americans were to vote by mail this year, 330 million ballots over the course of the election would be only 3/4 of what the Postal Service delivers in a single day.
Well, there's just a certain faith that we have to put in the process. So much of our lives are handled through the mail, and we put faith in that.
SJSU Votes is a project run by political science students, working to inform, educate, and motivate people to vote.
Definitely encouraging people, if they haven't registered, do register by the October 19th deadline so they can get their ballot by mail. Then vote early.
Students educate others on how to understand their local rules and requirements for participating in an election.
If I have my ballot postmarked by election day, it's still 17 days for it to get to the register of voters. So I feel confident that my vote's going to be counted.
With election day occurring on November 3rd, voters are able to track their mail-in ballots to make sure their vote is counted.
Confirmation hearings for a new Supreme Court justice this week have been contentious. Among the many concerns is the fact that the hearings are happening before the elections and during a pandemic. Update News reporter Guadalupe Emido is live in Modesto with more. Guadalupe?
Jocelyn, the stakes are high for both Democrats and Republicans as Judge Amy Coney Barrett is considered to fill the vacancy of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
In a packed hearing room and from remote locations, the Senate Judiciary Committee questioned Judge Amy Coney Barrett this week. Barrett did not give a hint on how she would rule on potential cases. Instead, she presented herself as an independent judge. But San Jose State political science professor Donna Crane says Judge Barrett is known for her ideology.
It is widely understood that President Trump selected her because she is considered to be a sure vote against Roe versus Wade and to overturn the Affordable Care Act.
Barrett teaches at Notre Dame Law School while serving as a circuit judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals.
I am very concerned that she could be a vote against Roe versus Wade, so abortion could become harder to get, less safe, more dangerous to get in America.
Another concern is how the nomination process is safe to hold during the pandemic. 2 senators had tested positive for the virus. As a safeguard, Senator Kamala Harris attended remotely from her Senate office in the Hart Building.
Over the last 9 years, Republicans in Congress have tried 70 times to repeal or roll back the ACA in the United States Congress.
What has occurred to me is they're literally potentially putting people's health at risk in order to speed through this confirmation.
However, some Republicans supporting the nomination wanted to continue.
I like because she's a woman of faith, but the most important thing is I believe that she will. Every decision she's going to make is going to be according to the Constitution, and I truly believe that.
Many are calling out the Republican Party for moving forward with the nomination.
I think it's unfair that they're going through with the nomination, since Obama tried to nominate a justice during a similar timeline as this Supreme Court justice is trying to get nominated, and Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Senate, didn't allow him to go through with the nomination process.
Question remains, will there be a pre-election vote to confirm Barrett before the presidential election?
The decision is expected in less than 19 days. If she is elected and she's lived as long as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she could still be on the court in 2059. Guadalupe Mictio, 11 Modesto, Update News.
Republicans, Democrats, and the White House have not yet decided on whether to issue another round of stimulus checks. The checks dealt out at the beginning of the pandemic gave some out-of-work people a cushion, but it gave others the nudge they needed to change their lives. Danny White is in Santa Cruz with a story on how the stimulus checks stimulated a small community. Danny?
Nicole, here in Santa Cruz, Eddie Alaniz accepted the $1,200 from the government and turned it into his dream job.
At the beginning of the pandemic, when people were getting laid off and their lives were being put on hold, many feared what would come next. But longtime barista and coffee brewer Eddie Alaniz saw it as an opportunity.
When I got laid off during quarantine, it's always been very daunting to me in the back of my mind to start my own company. It's been very fearful. I think a lot of people don't go for things in life because of fear.
But Alaniz didn't let fear get to him. And when some people were using their stimulus check for essentials, he decided to take the risk and start a business.
And so between downtime to think and really put a business plan together that would be effective, I used my stimulus money coming in to build a business model, which was the birth of Coffee Conspiracy.
Alaniz took the leap and started Coffee Conspiracy Co.
Getting into the pandemic and not letting it affect him, and he had this great idea and made it happen. I think it's really inspirational.
A lot of people said I was crazy to start a company in the pandemic, but I thought it was brilliant because nobody else is doing it, and I'm putting together a business model that surely relies on people being outdoors, which is the only thing that they can do right now is be outdoors.
His business model is fairly simple. Alaniz rides a bike around East Cliff in Santa Cruz, rigged with 2 kegs full of cold brew.
So I decided to do cold brew on the cart. I'm a big fan of cold brew. I love the potency of it. I love the flavor of it.
Not only does he sell a product he is passionate about, but the fact that he sells it off of a bike gives it a wow factor.
Definitely caught my eye. You don't normally see a guy riding around with kegerator taps on a bike, so.
It's a big head turner. People come up to me and they want to know what's happening and they want to know what the bike's all about. So it engages more people and I get more conversation out of it by being on the move.
Alaniz has only been in business for 2 months so far, but tourists and locals have been responding positively to it.
Got great energy and great product. It's awesome.
Alaniz hopes to eventually get a store location, but for now he's saying that he loves biking around his coffee around East Cliff. Live in Santa Cruz, Danny White, Update News.
Church services have been restricted in many locations, but not all. One of the largest services in the Southwest United States is drawing crowds. Update News reporter Jasmine King joins us live from Fresno County, where she has returned home after visiting Texas. Jasmine?
Nicole, I talked with worshipers at a major church service that's drawing thousands of worshipers every week. It's a type of revival meeting going on every week now for 4 days a week. Due to COVID-19, many churches in Texas shut their doors or reverted to online preaching, but a non-denominational Christian church called Faith for Life took its service down the road, an hour from its building in Dixon, Texas, to an outdoor tent.
And that time you see the Dr. So-and-so, cancer be gone.
Pandemic or not, Faith for Life continues to preach to their congregation and has moved their preaching to a tent that seats more than 3,000 people.
In order to reach out to the people, doing a tent crusade, I believe, will bring people in a place that normally would not want to come visit a church.
Many Christians are cautious about gathering inside a building, but being outside a tent makes them feel safer. According to this study released by Barna, State of the Church, 1 in 3 practicing Christians has stopped attending church due to COVID-19, and those no longer attending church bear more emotional burdens.
Heal the land of Texas. Bring prayer. I heard you say that prophecy tonight.
Although the tent revival is outside, masks are not required here by the congregation, and it is the person's choice whether they choose to wear one, but masks are a statewide requirement for individuals to wear.
I'm glad that they brought me on an RW Sandbox tent. We're talking about Faith for Life Church, Apostle, and Prophetess. Because without their obedience, I wouldn't be here.
Faith for Life continues to keep their services going and doesn't plan to stop until God tells them so. Many churches across the nation are still configuring when they should reopen, either due to their own safety concerns or by government order. I'm Jasmine King, live in Hanford, Update News.
Things could be heating up soon, and the wildfires in Northern California have still been active. Student meteorologist Joshua Gilman has an update. Joshua?
The air is much better now than it was just 1 week ago, although fires are still burning in the northern part of the state. Many local fires near St. Helena combined into one large blaze, dubbed the Glass Fire. The Glass Fire near Santa Rosa is not the only huge wildfire going on in California. There is also the August Complex Fire in the Mendocino National Forest.
That wind event ended up kind of flaring up all of our different fires. The August Complex blew up that day. The North Complex kind of reignited and started spreading a lot more than we'd seen. So
Holt Hanley is a graduate student in meteorology. He analyzes droughts and wildfires, putting his findings on a YouTube page.
I am still worried about October, though. As you said, October is typically actually our worst wildfire month, but next week is looking like we're going to have another warm up. Could be getting into the 80s and 90s, so more great news there when it comes to wildfire.
Although the winds were not too intense, temperatures that were in the upper 90s into the 100s combined with very dry conditions was the main cause for these fires, especially the Glass Fire.
These fires could unfortunately get worse this weekend, as Northern California will enter a red flag warning. I'll talk more about that later in the forecast.
When Update News returns, we'll show you what's open now that Santa Clara County has moved from the red to orange COVID levels.
We'll look on campus and in the community to see how people have been coping.
Social distancing can still be fun, especially in places like San Francisco.
And rooftop dining and movie screenings. How will these weekly showings relate to today's issues?
Update News will be right back.
Santa Clara County is now at the orange level of COVID restrictions. It switched from red to orange on Wednesday, and that brings new opportunities for businesses in the area, as well as the SJSU campus. The university's football team is returning to campus. After spending the past few weeks on campus of Humboldt State University, the Spartans arrived October 2nd after testing negative for COVID-19 in Santa Clara County. SJSU President Mary Papazian detailed other changes Wednesday in a letter to the campus community Wednesday, including a reopening of the SRAC, the recreation center on campus. It had already opened October 13th at 10% capacity to enrolled students only. Now it will only be with reservations for certain sports, including lap swimming. To offer some more information, we have Ken Mashinichi, Senior Director of Media Relations for San Jose State. Thank you for joining us. So
Thanks for
how does
having
this
me.
affect, of course, so how does this affect living on campus?
Well, moving to the orange tier, our academics in terms of teaching and learning will not change during this semester. So this really is about student life and those opportunities for students. Like you mentioned, SRAC opening, the opportunity to open that to even more percentage at a certain point as we continue to assess doing that safely. And so also other events like movie nights on the Tower Hall lawn, or those types of student life experiences are really where we might see that change because of this move to the orange tier.
Yeah, President Papazian's letter mentioned that sports that adhere to protocols for college athletics can start preparing for spring season. Which sports do you guys anticipate having back to campus?
So all 22 sports have repopulated to campus. Now, not all of them are practicing. Some of them are doing strength and conditioning or things like that, but not official practice. Now, like you mentioned, those county restrictions or protocols that we have to be adhering to, there's additional things for collegiate athletics outside of just what the orange tier states. So continue to assess how each of those teams can return to full practicing while adhering to those additional guidelines from the county is really the next step.
Will this change anything for plans to have most classes fully online in the fall?
So we'll continue to keep classes as they are for the fall. We're not going to be changing anything mid-semester, calling students to come back to class, anything like that. The CSU has already announced last month that next spring semester will also be mostly virtual. So you won't be seeing any changes teaching and learning wise. It will stay mostly virtual for the remainder of this semester as well as next semester.
Thank you, Ken Mashinichi. Thank you, Ken Mashinichi, Senior Director of Media Relations for San Jose State.
We're almost 8 months into the pandemic, and Santa Clara County has finally resumed indoor dining. Starting Wednesday, it reopened restaurants, museums, and movie theaters at 25% capacity. San Francisco is also under a similar plan of moderate openings with social distancing. Many beaches and restaurants are back in business, but before heading out, you should make sure that you know and follow the proper social distancing rules.
Have access to plenty of sanitizer, and we also provide sanitizer to our guests too. So yeah, we try to follow all the rules and go above and beyond to keep everybody safe.
Devil's Teeth Bakery near Ocean Beach has enjoyed business through the pandemic. With its location a couple of blocks away from the beach, customers can take a nice stroll to the bakery and back.
I be as safe as I can, from hand washing to always wearing a mask, all those things.
With COVID-19 still around, always remember to stand 6 feet away from people you don't live with, wear a mask, and wash your hands frequently, or stay home if you aren't feeling well. With the beaches open, health authorities say that people heading to the beach should follow the same advice for anyone in public, such as following the proper social distancing guidelines.
I'm only like a 10-minute drive, so sometimes I'll drive or I'll walk, and I'll just do like a quick run or walk along the beach, and just to get fresh air because it's hard being home and inside.
Each day, health agencies release new cases and have recently shown that Santa Clara County surpassed Alameda County for highest coronavirus cases in the Bay. Santa Clara County has nearly 22,000 cases. In all, there are around 108,000 cases across the 9 Bay Area counties. San Francisco has more than 11,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases this far into the pandemic.
As we mentioned, theaters in Santa Clara County can now open to 25% capacity. In San Jose, they're finding new ways to get around the limit and bring entertainment back to the community safely. Jennifer Hernandez is live with the story. Jennifer? Nicole, with the reopening of movie theaters and restaurants, this location continues to stay outdoors. Three Below, just a couple blocks from SJSU, is not just playing movies, but giving audiences a whole new way to enjoy them.
Three Below Theaters in downtown San Jose is offering a weekly event. Up on the roof, movies for a change. Theater owner Scott Guggenheim worked with the city to set up this dinner with a show.
We've got all kinds of movies, everything from movies celebrating Black Lives Matter, giving voice to the Latinx community, celebrating the Asian Pacific American filmmaker, the LGBTQ filmmaker, the empowerment of women, climate change, and so much more.
Staying within the COVID-19 guidelines, this event is one of the first to bring back entertainment to the community. $50 buys you tickets and food for two, including vegan-friendly options. 5 stories up, you enjoy the sunset and sanitized seats before the movie begins. There are 2 separate showings every night featuring 2 different movies that follow a theme. This show kicked off a celebration of Black Lives Matter.
So all kinds of fun things, as well as movies that will promote discussion and heal, hopefully start healing the community and giving people the opportunity to talk.
If you're interested in attending this event, it is weekly, Tuesday through Sunday. Check out threebelow.com for showtimes and screenings. Jennifer Hernandez, live in San Jose, Update News. With the fall season in motion, weather is an important topic.
When we return, we will get the forecast from Joshua Gilman.
Now we have student meteorologist Joshua Gilman with the 5-day forecast. Joshua?
It's going to be a toasty weekend, but it'll cool down by the beginning of next week. The warmest day will be on Saturday across the Bay Area. A red flag warning was issued, but it's going to expire on Friday morning, so this weekend should not intensify the wildfires too much. Now, looking at the satellite image, we see that it's pretty clear across the entire state and off of the coast. And here's the 5-day forecast. Starting in Santa Cruz, they're going to be seeing a peak day on Saturday at about 82 degrees, and then high temperatures will consistently be in the low 70s through next week, and low temperatures are going to be in the low 50s. Up in San Francisco, their peak day will also be on Saturday, 82 degrees, then high temperatures going to the low 70s by next week, and low temperatures will be in the mid-50s as well. Over in Oakland, their high temperatures will mainly be in the mid to upper 70s, and the low temperatures will be in the mid-50s. And finally, in San Jose, our warmest day is going to be on Saturday at about 89 degrees, then high temperatures will go into the mid-80s by next week, and low temperatures will be in the mid-50s as well. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your weekend.
And now for a look at upcoming events at San Jose State University. If you'd like to get involved with a spooky and creative contest, students can participate in the pumpkin carving Instagram challenge now until October 31st. If you have the best decorated pumpkin, you could even win a special prize. For more details about the challenge, contact Discover SJSU. On Wednesday, students can also see Netflix's Queer Eye star Antoni Porowski at the Pumpkin Speakers Series. To get a spot to this virtual event, contact the Division of Student Affairs. These are just a couple of fun events you can get involved with while being at home.
And that does it for this week's edition of Update News.
For all of us here, thanks for joining us and see you next week.